Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bees in a Pod. I'm your host, Mo.
I'm your co-host, Humaira.
And today we're here with Tamina. Tamina, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Where do I look?
You can just talk to us. You don't have to look into the camera. You'll eventually forget the cameras are here.
Yeah, my name is Tahmina. How do I introduce myself as a yoga person? Yeah. Okay, my name is Tahmina, and I'm a first of all special yoga practitioner or teacher for children and adults with special needs, and also I share yoga. I like to say share yoga with women, um, and it's more about like mindfulness and just beginner yoga. Let's say that.
Oh, awesome! So, how did you get into that? What's the background story?
Yeah, I would never think that I would be doing that even like 2 years ago. But first of all, I have two children, two beautiful children, and my children have special needs. My son has a Down syndrome. So this is how sort of I went into like trying to help him, with his emotions, emotional regulation, and everything else, just to we tried lots of things, and I used to take him to special yoga actually when he was only, I think, 2 years old, and he really enjoyed it. It was helping him. And after so many years, I think just only about 2 years ago, I got trained. Somehow I got again into the special yoga, but because of COVID,
Okay.
and also they closed their office and they were offering online
Yeah.
trainings. And I said, okay, I'll go and do the training for my son. And it just ended up that I went, from one level to another, and I wanted to share this with other children, not just with Down syndrome, with
Yeah.
any kind of special needs. And yoga for women, I practice yoga for I don't know how many years, many years, 15 years maybe, on and off, and then on a regular basis. Being a mom of a child with special needs also it's quite helps me a lot, mentally also, just and mindfulness especially, all this. Um, it really helps me. So I think that that's why when I started actually offering um, with my flyers kids with special needs like yoga, um, the moms were saying, and women were saying, can't you just teach us this?
Yeah.
And that's how it sort of started. And I started offering, yoga and mindfulness to women.
Oh, so
Yeah.
what makes special yoga? Is there a difference between special yoga and how do you adapt your yoga practices for children with special needs? And I guess you said adults with special needs as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, special yoga is, yeah, it's completely different than a classical yoga, let's say, which you would teach like kids. I mean, kids. I'm also a yoga practitioner for kids without any conditions. Let's say,
Okay.
yeah. So it's completely different, but it's more special yoga is more like therapeutic yoga, if you could say that. So it's I often get when I was talking about this on social media, especially for people from my country. Also, they were like, yoga for kids with special. Some people are quite also rude when they write,
Yeah.
don't think, and they're like, kids with special needs can't do any yoga. What are you talking about? Nonsense. And I was saying, yes, they can, with the help. They can do their sanas. Asanas really, they help move the energy and help their bodies. But also, it's more about mindfulness. It's more about teaching them breathing, more breath work, because breath work is important for all of us, especially people, and children, adults with special needs. And we do lots of breath work. I teach them a lot of like how to you know um, control their emotions or regulate their emotions, because when you're especially nonverbal or you can't express yourself, even like what is going on with you, or you don't even understand what is happening with you with your emotions. um it's hard. Then you have these behavioral issues. um I see it with my son also, behavioral issues where you don't know what to do with your emotions. That's why you shout, maybe, or do something else.
Yeah.
But with special yoga, I teach them to, regulate that, help themselves. Just, mindfulness, breath work, really. Also, asanas as an exercise, let's say, physical ones. We do with kids and adults with special needs, and sound. Sound is really powerful as well.
Mm.
And I do also. I'm also a sort of what would you say? Um, sound healing practitioner, if you can
Mm.
say. So basically, I use the singing bowls. I learned how to play singing bowls.
Are those bowls where you kind of you draw
Yeah.
around the side? Yeah.
So they basically they're called Tibetan singing bowls,
Okay.
and they like made out of 7 or 8 metals. Some of them,
Ah.
and I have those which are really big and powerful, and the vibration, it's also scientifically proven that
Mm.
how the sound really, helps us and regulate our emotions, calms the nervous system. So children often, any children and women as well, but also children with special needs, they don't understand,
Mm.
but something is happening and they're calming down. They love singing bowls. And I do some sound baths for them. I also teach.
What's a sound bath?
So basically, sound bath is when you play different instruments. Um, like Tibetan, I have like 10 Tibetan singing bowls, which I bring to the center and play. So you play them in a certain way, and the vibration and sound sort of heals and calms the
Wow.
nervous system. But also, I use other instruments as well, with that. And children usually like it. Women, I think last week some even like fell asleep. That's the thing;
Mm.
they make you fall
Wow.
asleep because when you're asleep, you don't think about your problems, about your to-do lists that
Yeah.
moms usually have. Yeah, all this that means that you let the vibrations
Yeah.
just help you to just calm down, just relax. So this is sort of the special yoga,
That's
the
fascinating.
therapeutic way of, also, like, you look at each child and I make a program for them. I see what works for this child. It might not work for another child with special needs. So it's it's not about like practice of asanas, let's say,
Mm.
more physical yoga, but we do physical yoga as well, though, with help, with some
Yeah.
help, we do that.
What drove you to kind of start learning about this, and how did you, because you seem very, very knowledgeable about this, and I know you've been doing it
Hmm.
for a while.
Yeah.
So where did you learn this, and why did you decide to start learning it? I know you mentioned briefly that you
Yeah.
were doing that with your son,
Yeah.
but like, were there any other factors that kind of drove you, for you personally as well, that wanted you to kind of really
Mhm.
start learning and
Mhm.
and becoming an expert at this?
Mhm. I think, yes, definitely. I mean, my son is just, alhamdulillah for my son. So he's my biggest teacher. And so through him, just, I was completely different person. I was working in completely international development and, different kind of office works and stuff. But with him, so many things opened, especially like where I come from.
Mm.
The people with disabilities, I really don't like that word, but let's say these people with
Yeah.
disabilities are hidden, um, and you don't see them in the post.
Mm.
I come from Tajikistan, Central Asia. It was part of Soviet Union, and in Soviet Union you want to see just perfect people who,
Right.
and that's why it's, for me it was a completely different world. I went into, like, from
Mm.
my perfect, let's say, in
Yeah.
brackets, world to this world.
Yeah.
And so it's, so he's, one of my the biggest teachers, sort of, who brought me. But then I saw other kids. I've seen, there's so many kids also, with autism are being diagnosed now, and more,
Mm.
like, every second person I know has a child, almost, yeah,
Mm.
with autism, or somebody, somebody has.
Yeah.
And other also kids I met through my son. And because I saw the impact on my son, impact of yoga on me, so that's why I wanted to share it further, just to help
Mm.
children, um, you know, have a better quality of life, if you want to say
Mm.
that. Um, I guess also I have a charity in my country that helps children and adults with Down syndrome, as I said, because they're hidden. So I started this
Yeah.
campaign, and almost like a revolution, like getting them out of their houses. And we have more than like 300 kids. So I
Wow.
do also yoga online at 7 a.m. I wake
Oh,
up
cool.
on Saturdays, and we
Wow.
do online yoga for children from my center. And for me, it's experience, even online, they're non-verbal mostly in Tajikistan. They absolutely love doing it. They learned it so much. It helps them so much. For me, it was like, okay, it needs to be shared more
Mm.
because there are not so many, in special yoga instructors. Yeah.
Mm.
There are yoga teachers, but they don't know how to usually like work with kids with special
Yeah.
needs. So I guess this is I see it as my life purpose. If you want to say, I don't know, a mission or whatever, I'll share as much as I can, and I keep learning. I learn from different other courses, and also I'm now interested in. I'm doing now accessible yoga,
Mm.
which is it means accessible for
Mm.
anyone, like chair yoga for elderly. I'm really
Ah,
keen to share with elderly as well,
yeah.
sort of like chair yoga and things like it, because it's very, I know that it's going to help them.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in kind of what ways does yoga help you kind of personally, like through because we're all on this constant journey of self-improvement and
Yeah.
really understanding our kind of emotional balance better. I know definitely for me, as I've kind of grown up through the years, it's something I didn't really pay much mind to when I was younger. But then I started seeing the impact of me not managing my emotions, not just kind of outwardly with the people around me, but also with myself.
Yeah.
And how I ended up kind of thinking about myself and treating myself, and therefore
Yeah.
how you treat others and how you interact with others and your kind of work life. How's that been for you, kind of? Because you've spoken, and it kind of speaks a lot to your character that you've been speaking a lot about helping others. But how has it helped you?
Yeah.
Personally?
Yeah. So it helps me a lot. So as you said, I like that as you say about trying to help others to regulate emotions, but it's more important about us. This is like, even like, I don't know, should I use this word or not here? But it's like jihad, like jihad
Yeah.
in Islam. I'm Muslim
Yeah.
as well. So it's not about like it's perceived in the world,
That's it.
or other radical groups, but it's jihad with ourselves.
That's right.
Isn't it?
Your
So
internal
it's like
struggle.
how we regulate our emotions, how we, become a better person and strengthen our iman, and it's just connect to
Yeah.
Allah and
Yeah.
whatever you call, I call Allah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it's through yoga and meditation. I didn't speak about meditations. It's a key as well. So I try to teach children also through sound baths. They do meditations, sort of they do get into this state.
Yeah.
So for me, if I don't do yoga, even like, let's say one day, especially meditation, I can see how I'm dysregulated. Even I know so much, I
Yeah.
teach, I share, I can, if something happens with my children, children,
Yeah.
they do something and my tone maybe get, and I don't
Yeah.
shout, but, I get, my tone goes like that, or I tell them off or something. And I feel like, oh, what's going on? And I talk to myself, like, okay, so I'm not really, regulating. So I go back to because I know I go back to my practice. I can go just stop and just breathe, even 5 breaths, deep breaths. And I try, if my husband is there, I need to do it, even a 10-minute meditation, and just, centering, ground myself in a way, But I think that yoga really, really helped me to improve, this improvement as a human being, really. And definitely meditation. I say, like, I read somewhere about meditation and prayer. Like, prayer is like when you talk to God, and it's a meditation. It's like when you listen. This is,
Yeah.
I like it. That's when you get quiet and you hear. But also, like, meditation especially helped me to connect
Yeah.
better to higher being, which is important to me. sort of spiritually
Yeah.
for my growth.
Oh,
I
that's
don't know.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would you say your favorite thing about delivering these sessions would be? So, what do you love
Um,
most about delivering special yoga or
yeah.
yoga to women?
Yeah. I love. 'Cause I started to work in Phoenix School.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids with autism there.
Yeah.
Um, and also like yeah, I've never seen so many kids and sort of I can see that um they don't feel their bodies, no body awareness and things. So we do lots of that. And for me, it's sharing yoga, you know, with children with special needs. It's like I mean, I don't know, should I say, I don't know, but I feel like I'm serving,
Mm,
serving for the
mm,
purpose, good purpose. And I like to see um, how they're changing, even if they don't understand how they can help themselves, even if they're non-verbal, they will get benefit of from the sessions. And this is, I think, more important for me to bring this peace and harmony and just teach this self-regulation. But also for women, I love. I wasn't planning to share with women really because they
mm.
asked every center I went. They were just like, "Can you do this?" Even like I started in different centers as well, and some moms were like, saw the singing bowls. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Can I come when you do this to children? Can I come and lie down?" Because they already know the impact.
Yeah.
But here at Teviot, also the women love it. They do it for the first time.
Mm,
Yoga and lots of mindfulness. I teach them breath work, how they can they they absolutely love it. And the good thing teaching moms or women is they can, if they have children, if they're moms, they can teach the same thing to their children. It
mm.
doesn't matter they have special needs or not, but they can, when you teach, even like in my country, they think we say that educate the woman because woman is the future, mother, and
Yeah.
then if you teach a woman, a mother especially, she'll continue teaching, educating her children, and well-being and quality of life will be then better to to all the family.
Yeah.
um
I imagine it's a really good way for mums to connect with their children, especially kind of, I know I was not the easiest teenager to be around, and I know my mom definitely struggled, and something like having being able to share an experience like that, like sharing
mhm,
yoga between parents. I imagine that would help a lot with building
mhm.
that relationship
Yeah,
with your children and bettering it, because
exactly.
it's a struggle I hear a lot about
Mhm.
um, from parents that especially newer parents that
Mm-hmm.
there's a struggle to really connect
Yeah,
with their children now.
yeah. Do you know? It is, and also I go to one family where I do family yoga. It's basically family yoga. They have two children, well, like 12,
Mm,
and she's got autism, and another one also got another condition, was 10. And then I work with mom for half an hour. And it's just, that's what she was actually saying. I didn't even think about it. She's like, we feel connected as a
mm,
family because everybody does their own thing. And also with special
yeah,
needs, without special needs, this
yeah,
connection somehow gets, weaker or something.
yeah, yeah.
And that really yoga and family yoga also kind of helps to connect. Also, one important thing I wanted to say, I also study grief, like
Oh,
I do grief movement and grief
mm,
yoga. Why I do this? Because I went to study to become a practitioner because I went through grief.
mm,
I lost my mom for 14 years ago. Yeah, it's gonna be
mm,
15. It's been quite, it's actually diagnosed now, a diagnosis. So it's called prolonged grief.
mm,
Um, so anyway, so I wanted to help myself and do this. And now I'm sharing it with, I'm doing my pilot group now from my country, um, on my friends and family and seeing the impact. But what I found out about grief, because grief has like 5 stages, there's 5 stages of grief.
mm,
But the parents who have children with special needs, um, they go through the grief when a child is
Mm.
born,
Mm.
and it's not really nobody talks about it that much.
Mm.
As a parent of child with special needs, for me it was a discovery. Now since I studied these things, about grief, I understood, oh my God, I went through grief. I had my mom's grief, and after like 2-3 years I had my child. And now that was another grief, because when your child is born, especially when you don't know that your child will have this diagnosis, then you sort of, it's sudden, you're not prepared, and you go through the grief. You sort of grieve the child, that, let's say, that perfect whatever child in brackets that you were imagining. We all imagine our children, that it's gonna, he or she will be like this. And this phase is actually called grieving for your child. You go through the same stages of denial, rejection, and depression, or all this, until you come to surrender and acceptance. That was something very new that sort of I found out, and I'm teaching now as well. So I just wanted to say, if there are parents who have children with special needs listening to this, it's important to know, maybe there are new parents who go through this. It's okay. You just go through this. Just come to acceptance. And acceptance is the last stage.
Yeah.
And surrender, and just and then it's going to be, just easy.
I'd definitely be curious to kind of to explore more that concept of grief, because we don't talk about it a lot until it happens to you, right? And I've been fortunate enough that it's not really kind of struck me yet. The closest I really got was putting down my cat, like my kitten, a while ago, which was a taste almost. It was a taste, and it definitely. The thing that shook me about that was the taste of it. It was like, okay, eventually I'm gonna have to deal with this. Like everybody does.
Yeah,
everybody does. And it's one of the hardest things that connects us all.
Yeah.
What's something that, I guess, especially this is even just, I'm sure everybody can relate to this on some level, but just I'm asking even just personally, what's something that people can do ahead of, like, because you need to have the right emotional building blocks to be able to then manage that grief process better. I imagine. What's some steps really to maybe understand grief before you enter that kind of period of grief? Do you have any kind of insight?
Oh, there's lots I can share about that, but it's important to understand this grief education. I think there is no proper grief education anywhere in the world, really. So if I, for example, would know what I know now, then I would understand what's happening to you. It's just there is no right and wrong for grieving. This is the main thing that people should understand. There are 5 stages. If I remember them correct, I'll just say them, maybe not in order, but there is the rejection and denial, basically, of the fact that what just happened. And there is a shock and everything. There is anger. I lived in anger for many years. And there is also the apathy, or like depression stage. And there is a stage of bargaining, where you say, what if I would have done this? Like for my mom, she had heart issues. What if I would force her to go and do that bloody operation? Maybe she would have lived longer. What if I would have done it? Everybody has what if it's called the bargaining thing. And then the last stage is the where you surrender. Basically, you surrender to God's will, Allah's will. It's not, we don't control this. But it's hard. But when you come to surrender and acceptance, basically, of the fact what happened, just say that, okay, I don't have control over this, but remember that you have control of other things. I like the phrase of my teacher David Kessler. Is basically, I think, number one. He's American, who's a grief expert. And he says that, pain, like you said, we all go through grief. If you haven't gone, but you will. So everybody will. So pain is, what does he say? Like, you go through pain. Pain is not optional, like yet another phrase, but like suffering is optional. Like pain, you go through pain. Everybody goes through pain, like grief, yeah. But to suffer, you need to choose. I think it's so powerful. For me, especially when I heard it after 40, it was 13 years I heard it. It's like, oh, really? So I chose to suffer. Often people choose to suffer, to live in this past of, with their loved ones who died or passed away, or if the loved one went through some cancer or something else, that they were seeing them dying basically day after day, and they like couldn't do anything to control, sort of do something to help. Or so especially they remember these days with the loved ones, yeah. Or like me, I remember just that horrific day when my mom just didn't get up from she was just sleeping peacefully, and she was dead. And this scene was just stuck for all these years. But because I chose that, yeah. But why don't we think about, like I'm trying to learn to live with love, not pain. Like remembering your loved ones. So you did so many lovely things with them. There's so much joy and happiness. There's interesting, really cool things you've done with them. Their support, their everything, and this all didn't die. And love, I like this phrase of love doesn't die when our loved ones die. It leaves. They're just not in physical body, but they, in spirit. The spirit is, ruh is just eternal. So they are with you whenever you pray. So it's like just try not to live in the past. But also like these stages that I mentioned, they're not linear in a way. So people grieve differently. Even like me and my brother grieve differently on my mom's death. So it's you can jump up and down on these stages. Like you can be angry, then you can again denial, then you can be bargaining, and you can be stuck. I felt like I was stuck in some stage of anger and denial, but more of anger and what if. And then, and then I was just numb. I numbed my feelings for some time because it was painful again to go there. Now they had kids, I didn't want to go into that pain. But it's what I wanted to say, that it's really important to feel your emotions for those loved ones you lost, and you feel them, because this all this pain lives in our bodies. So what yoga helps get rid of this pain, but also like the grief movement that I'll be introducing also in the UK soon. This grief movement, it's a combination of, I think, about 7 or 8 practices of yoga. Yoga has lots of different practices. So he chose like 7 or 8, and he got those like somatically, that you feel your pain, you go into that denial, whatever feeling you have. Often people who grieve have a feeling of guilt, like I'm guilty because I should have done this, and maybe my mom, my dad, whoever, loved one who passed would leave, or I would have done. Maybe they're angry at me, maybe this, maybe angry at yourself also. All these things, with the grief movement, we just sort of, we feel it, and through breath work, through mind work in terms of meditations, and through physical movement, we move them, we feel them, and move them through from the body. And it's really powerful. I've done so many things to help with my grief, but when I did grief movement, grief yoga, that just sealed everything. That what I needed to close this puzzle, or close this thing, that I feel good now. I remember about my mom, just with love, with love, and I appreciate, and I thank God a lot for giving me such a beautiful. I'm just gonna cry. It's a beautiful mother, the best mom I could ever had. She was a single mom. She raised us. She gave so much unconditional love, and it was really sudden, everything. But I try to. I'm teaching myself to remember with less pain.
Yeah.
love. So yeah.
That's really beautiful. It's it's really profound, because it's my personal kind of experience with this was like, ever since I was small, that was death is the one thing. It's the most difficult thing to really think about,
Yeah.
because you don't want to think about it.
No.
And I'm sure a lot of people would kind of empathize with the feeling of, like you said, numbing it, forgetting about it, pushing it
Yeah.
aside. And I know for a lot of men, that issue of
Yeah.
suppressing your emotions,
Even more than women.
it,
Yeah.
100%.
it's very difficult,
Yeah.
particularly when it comes to, like, I can't imagine what it's like for, like, because within my kind of personal experience, I know that my dad found it really, really, really difficult when his mum and dad passed away,
Yeah.
particularly his mum. And I only like heard things, because his mum passed away before I was born. And my mum would tell me, or I think shortly after I was born.
Yeah.
And he took that really difficult, really, really difficultly. And I know he didn't have access to kind of things like yoga and really, you know, especially being born in a traditional kind of setting. I can't imagine, like, because like, I'd hear stories where when his mum was sick also, and he would, you know, he was at university in a town over, and he'd like make the trip to just go like sleep beside her and stay with her in the hospital. And like, it's, I think for a lot of men, I think if there's any kind of male listeners, do you have any kind of advice on how they can at least start working towards that? Because I know you've got societal pressures, which is one thing. And even within that, you know, some men within their households, within kind of the relationships they've developed, their partner may not be, because it's a two-sided thing. Because I know from some of my friends who are now married, their wives also have that societal kind of bias where they're like, you know, if my husband cries, I lose respect for him. I've heard things like this.
It's like in my culture.
Yeah, I've heard things like this, and it's a tough thing, because crying is just one form of catharsis, right?
Exactly.
You need to find some way to kind of release that, and oftentimes the way you see men cry is at sports, right?
Yeah.
It's the only time you really see a lot of men becoming emotional and showing their emotions. You watch any football match and you see somebody's team.
I was just thinking about actually football match.
They weep. They'll open. It's the one time men are allowed to cry.
They're allowed.
You're
exactly.
allowed, right?
Yeah.
And it's why you see a lot of football matches, so much violence happening. You know, hooliganism, people getting very violent, because it's where all these suppressed emotions are kind of expressed.
Finally, yeah.
But do you have any kind of advice for kind of some of the men that might be in that position where they either might be actively grieving or, you know, like we said, eventually they will grieve.
Yeah.
One form or another. You could be have you know, your parents may not, like, you might be, let's say you could be an orphan, grown up by yourself. At some point somebody you really care about will go.
Yeah. Also, grief is not just about, what was also a discovery for me, grief is not about just somebody dies, physically.
Okay.
It's also about, as I said, like a child born
that's
with,
right.
you know, with special needs. That was one of them. But also the grief is a divorce. You know, if you have a divorce, you're grieving. It doesn't matter you wanted this divorce or not. You will grieve. You will grieve the life that you dreamed with that person. You dreamt, you know, just before, you know, you were thinking you'll live until you die together. You had all these beautiful things that you wanted, and then all this sort of destroys and shatters you. So this is also grieving. For divorce also, I'll have a group also for women who go through that, and there can be different things on grieving, not just these, also like friendships, you know, things that, you know, often when you grow up, you know, friendships go like, you know, like you lose your friends, not in a way that they die. This also grieving. There's so many things that could be in this. So anybody, you know, everybody goes through this. Maybe they don't realize that is grief. I like the thing that you brought up. I'm also like professionally gender specialist, but there is so many now genders. But I would say
Yeah.
women's rights, or
Yeah.
like more women's empowerment, because in my country they lack, they, even if in constitution there are the rights, but there are, like you say, culturally there's lots of domestic
Yeah.
violence
Of
and all
course.
this.
Yeah.
That's why I professionally work actually as a consultant on these issues. And for me, that's why gender, it's always, let's talk about men and women. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's often that we forget the concept of gender or rights. Yeah, it's not just about women's rights, but very often, um, because in these countries, developing countries like mine, we see,
Yeah.
even here, we see there are more on the rights of women, or more discrimination is, or stereotypes against women. That's why it's more we talk when it's gender or women, it's women's rights. But actually, we sometimes forget about men, because men's, the culturally, the socially constructed role of man is in cultures like yours and mine, especially, it doesn't matter where you live. All these things that you mentioned, it's so important that the men can't express their emotions. Also, like, but they're human beings as well. They have the same emotions as the women do. Their mom died, or they lost the job, or something else.
Yeah.
So I feel now a bit sort of, you reminded me about this, that this grief work that I will be doing also, it shouldn't be just for women, it should be also for men. Again, I mean, through I would say, just educate yourself about grief. There are, books. I'll have some booklets as well. I'll have a website soon that they can just read about, just knowing about the stages of the grief, understanding what is happening within you, with your emotions, that it's okay. It's okay you want to cry, you go and cry. Okay, your wife doesn't understand, doesn't accept, or something. You just go somewhere, but you release this, suppress. This is what in grief yoga we do. We work with suppressed emotions. As I said, I numbed it out, numbed it, and I put it down somewhere. So I don't want to go there. It's painful, or maybe it's not for men, like, accepted to cry. In the grief yoga, when we do these somatic movements, these movements, lots of tears come. A lot that's needed. You need to feel, you cry, you shout. Men especially probably want to shout. Go somewhere. I would suggest just go somewhere in a forest somewhere where there are no people. Shout, cry as much as you want. It's really going to help them. It's going to release. Just feel those emotions. Don't suppress them, but just, just, we even have this, I heard about this sort of practice of, you put your pillow and hit it when it, I was taught it somewhere. This is effective. This is also in grief yoga, actually. You take something and you can hit. A man can go and do boxing or something. Like, just do something, like, release it, like, physically, emotionally. But what I say also when I do this with women, it's not just some kind of yoga or grief move. It's not just movement. Even we do this movement, for example, stretching, but you connect with your pain, with that emotion you want to release, that doesn't serve you anymore. You just, and then you feel like you're, getting rid of it. There's lots of tears, lots of screaming. I just tell them, women, like, online, I just, mute yourself, do whatever you need. Get close your cameras if you need, or just do it again yourself. So this is important for men. I would say that just get all of this out just by probably going somewhere and just shout it out, hit with something.
Now they have like rage rooms, don't they? Even in workplaces, some workplaces have started to implement rage rooms where if you're really stressed, you just go in, close the door, and you scream and let it all out.
And that's amazing. So that's what you do to release it. But to sort of find peace and sort of, I don't know, look into your future without your loved one, or without whatever happened, then you teach yourself to be kind to yourself. Basically, kind and gentle to yourself. Doesn't matter you're man or women. And just, self-care is so important for both. And also, like, I would encourage just everyone to meditate. Just learn meditating. I know it's hard. It was hard for me to learn. But even like just, sit in a quiet breath work that I usually teach. You do breath work. I even taught women like last because they love this alternate nostril. They can Google it also. Breathing, it's really, really good. It balances two hemispheres of the brain. It calms down the nervous system. So even I said before you pray, like even like in the morning especially, do 10 minutes of that or 5 minutes. And then you do your prayer namaz, because it just connects like immediately because your mind is so clean and clear, and it really helps. So I would say encourage breath work. I mean, yoga or the somatic one, and then just meditation, really.
Yeah, and staying consistent. Because I during lockdown, which I'm sure a lot of people can connect with this, that's definitely a practice that I tried. I was like, I was like a lot of people, I was very frustrated during lockdown. There's a lot of, you're locked in with everyone. And of course, there's going to be, especially, if you live, like a lot of people around here living in an overcrowded house, like me, that's my brother over there, me, him, and another brother all shared one room during lockdown. And of course, that was tense.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely a practice. Like I started like waking up super early, Fajr time. And yeah, like you said, I did do that before praying. I was trying it. I was like, okay, let me give this a go. And it was one of those techniques. I was watching it online, and they were like, you start by being conscious of like, how your toes feeling and moving up through your body and all the way up to the tip of your head, just being conscious. And it really gets you into such a great state of mind. And then you just kind of sit there, and the concept of, which was very new to me, and I still use that since discovering it, is observing your thoughts and not engaging with them, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds very odd before you try it.
Yeah.
And it's literally a case of, for me, it was cool. A thought came into my mind, just like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about that now.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, now I'm thinking about this. And it, you know what, where that was really helpful was like, okay, for me, I could compartmentalize it, and I'm like, okay, this is something I need to spend actual time to think about, just this, because I'm somebody, I've got a very, very active kind of mind, and I end up thinking about a lot of things at once, and I'm an overthinker. That's my my curse. It's and a blessing at the same time. I definitely through kind of being more mindful and through meditation, that's something that helped me, is because I'm an overthinker, and when I was doing some therapy during lockdown as well, and one thing that really helped me there was learning about this thing called a worry tree. And it was I always recommend this to everyone, and it's you go down this kind of path of, okay, what are you thinking, what are you overthinking about right now, and you just kind of follow the path down. Is there something I can do to deal with this right now, immediately? Yes or no? If it's yes, okay, what is it? Can I do this in this moment? Is there something I need to do to prepare for that? And you just kind of keep going down all these different kind of questions and cycles until you eventually get to a point where it's like, you either can do something right now. It's like, no, I can't address it right now. And so you can either, cool, let it go, or find some way of working towards that piece, or cool, I need to work on this element of myself so that I can process this better. I need to go research and learn and really think about this. And it really helped me. But to kind of go back, it's the consistency for that, because I stopped doing it. And now I've got, it's like I wired the thought process into my brain. And so whilst it definitely was a huge change for me, kind of personally and emotionally, that practice of meditation stopped. And so I can, I feel the emotions are still there. The only difference is I feel like with meditation and with yoga and kind of some physical practices, the emotions take longer to process.
Oh yeah.
Much longer, if at all. And for me, it's only because I spend a large amount of time thinking. When I go home, I sometimes when I've people find it, I don't know if everybody does this, but I literally just kind of, sometimes I go home and I'm just sit there, I'll just lie down. I'm not doing anything. You're just kind of staring and you're just thinking and processing things. And why I don't kind of then combine that with yoga and meditation, I think it's down to inconsistency for me.
Yeah.
So consistency is super important because like you said, I found it like where I really connected with that is when you were saying that when you brought yoga into your grief process, you found the missing part.
Yes.
And it's no surprise that with a lot of people who start to find peace in their lives is when there's a physical element of it, because we're physical beings at the end of the day, right? We're not sedentary. We're not built to just sit and not do anything. And it's why like talking on kind of men expressing their emotions, that's why a lot of boxers and wrestlers, mixed martial artists, the best ones are all the ones who have really like a lot of horrible things happen to them growing up, and they've got all this pent, like Mike Tyson, like Muhammad Ali, the pent up emotions and rage and things they had to deal with. That's where they brought it from. And likewise with artists, right? The kind of the most beautiful art comes from that emotion, and finding some way to kind of release it.
Also physical. I just learned about also the practice of yoga nidra. I don't know if you heard.
No.
Yoga nidra is a really deep relaxation meditation, but it's like this, it's a minimum 20 minutes, maximum like 30-35 minutes. So basically the voice guides you. It's guided meditation, but it's like, it's really, really deep, and you usually in this borderline of sort of sleep and not asleep, and it's really beautiful. And there we were learning about the brain, how the brain works and things. And even there they were saying you need to do something physical, because if you do physical things, physical activities, be it yoga, be it you going to the gym or something like that, it's a must have even for yogis to do, for everyone, because you do physical things happen to our the brain's energy goes, and all this and other fascinating facts she was saying. And it's really important. Also, what you just described, also what calms you down is grounding. It's basically what you were doing is grounding and centering yourself. Anybody can do that. When you're stressed, overwhelmed, or whatever, you just pay attention to your breathing. Don't control it. Pay attention to your breathing, and you just, like you said, pay attention to your like toes. You don't have to look. You just close your eyes, like visualize like what's happening in your toes, ankles, and further you go, all over your body. It's like body scan. And then you will realize that you're, here and now, this mindfulness thing. And we're here and now, you don't think about, all the other worries and things like that. Also, but while we were talking, I thought about the importance of journaling. So this is also what the man can do, like women as well. I do journaling. I love it. And if you practice it, like you said, consistently as well, you can get all this anger, all this whatever you have, whatever, negative emotions you have, you can just write there. And it's interesting when you just keep writing, let's say for 20 minutes a day, you don't stop, non-stop, you need to write whatever you want to process. You write, it's right. Even if you say, I don't know what to write, you just write, I don't know what to write. You keep writing and you will be amazed what's going to come up after 10 minutes. For me, some traumas that were hidden, suppressed again, some things that, I didn't want to go into. And some, I never thought about that I would have this. These things would come up also, and it's, and then you work on those. But writing definitely helps. Also with these angry thoughts, angry whatever, you're angry at somebody or whatever, you can write all these things. Also you can just burn it. You know, if it's negative, you should burn it.
Yeah.
Just burn it. Imagine you're giving it to, I don't know, hands of God or something, like to transform it into some joy and thing for you. And it is something about this burning element of it. When I do this, I get immediate relief. You know, like really, it went somewhere and out of my system. Maybe some of the emotions, if they're deep, will not obviously go through one writing or through one whatever yoga and other practices. But if you keep, like, again, the keyword, consistently working on this, you'll feel this release every time. Like, it's less, and whenever, you know, you'll understand when it's gone. When you think about it, you don't have any emotions there. You're neutral. I did also this course on writing through loss, on grief. And it's as I said, this American, he's a psychotherapist. He's David Kessler. He's number one in grief work. So he was also teaching us on writing about that. But also one thing, when you write, you don't. What he was saying is just you. Often people are scared that they can re-traumatize themselves when you think about that.
Yeah.
But what you do is, when you write about maybe some events, like somebody died, something happened, a horrible maybe accident, maybe something, you sort of, every time you just remind yourself, grounding and centering, I'm here now, I'm not, this happened in the past, you know, and I'm here now. I'm just, you know, writing about this, and I'm safe here now. Sort of, this is, I think, the most sort of also important. This is what I want to do with women as well, eventually, that come here in Tibet, give them some journaling, sort of prompts to write, encourage them to do that.
Well.
Yeah, it is scary. Like that was literally what I was gonna. You answered the question before I asked it, because it is a scary thing. That's what stops me from going down some of those rabbit holes, because it's that fear. Once it's opening Pandora's box, right?
Yeah.
Once you start, it's happening. You can't go back from there.
No.
Once you dive into those thoughts properly, your journey starts there. And for me, there's certain things I was like, okay, I don't even want to think. I can't think about this right now, because I don't feel ready to explore that. And I don't think that's a good thing. I can. It's a hesitancy, particularly around kind of thinking about death. That's my big thing. I'm too, like, I think about it at a surface level. I'm too scared to really actually dig into it. Because it's a scary thing. But it was well, I wanted to kind of go back to a topic. I think you mentioned it briefly around self-love and self-care. And one thing I've noticed, which is super interesting with some people, is they misunderstand that, and they become selfish. Right? And I really, it would be really helpful to really clarify, what is the difference between self-love and self-care and becoming selfish, and how do we avoid that?
It's a really good question. That's usually what I thought also when people were saying self-love, you know. And I was actually, with women, especially mothers, we usually like serve others. We share our love. We give. But we human beings are made in this way. You know, we're made. You know, we're energy anyway. You know, it's scientifically also proven about the auras and things. So it's when you give and you don't receive, then what happens? You know, then then you're not getting this, and then you feel not happy. This is what I felt with my charity and stuff. I was just sleeping 3-4 hours in the beginning, because I was like, I want to help these children. And I was giving my love, my care, my everything I could. I even forget about my own children and my own family, like just thinking about these children in my family. So I think that then at some point I understood that when I was almost like, what do you say? My health was deteriorating. Even like I was really like, you couldn't see. I was really burned out, and I did have actually a burnout, and then almost nervous breakdown as well. And then I realized the meaning of the self-love, self-care. because it's important, especially for those who care for others, also like, and who give, but also like when I was ill 2 weeks ago, that's because I didn't take care of myself. And I knew when I was just getting ill, you need to slow down, you need to take care of yourself, you need to, give yourself some love and care. And I didn't do that. No, I have to do so many things. I can't do this, children, I need this, myself, my work, and then my body was like, okay, you don't listen to me, and I would lie down for 2 weeks. And I could move and do, and that's it. Then you can't give, you can't take care. Everybody, but I think self-care is so important. This is what I keep saying here, also in Tevit with women. Please, in the beginning, we do little centering grounds. Forget about your to-do list. They're gonna come to you. But this is the time I thank them. Usually, I thank them for coming, for finding this time for themselves to take care of their mental state, and just physical body and everything else. Just it's just, if you don't take care of yourself, and it's not selfish, then you can't. I don't know. You can't really be happy also, isn't it? It's about, I think the ultimate birthright of every human being to be happy.
That's right.
We were given this right. And if we, don't take care of ourselves and don't, even health-wise, even like mentally with all the other things, and not just that, self-love could be also something you like to do. Gardening, I don't know, you go and, I don't know, buy something for yourself that makes you happy. Do something that makes you happy, really, So, and selfish, I think it's completely different. It's a concept. It's when you do something selfishly just for yourself without, I don't even know how to explain it, without thinking about others, or you, I don't know, maybe you manipulate, maybe you do some sort of this kind of. Selfish is completely different. This is what I always say to women as well. It's not what you're doing is not selfish. You're taking care of yourself, because if you feel better and happy, then others, in a family will feel better also. And as a human being, you'll be just happy. I don't know if I explained it.
No, I think you explained it really well.
Definitely.
So some of the best. I heard this really kind of good quote linked to what you said, and you touched on it. Is if you're doing well, slow down. If you're not doing well, slow down. And really slowing down is like the best thing you can do, because you need time to reflect. You need time to process. But I think let's wrap that up there, because I think that's a beautiful kind of place to stop.
I think so.
But do you have any parting words or advice or anything you want to promote? Please promote yourself, or your services. Go for it.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I would encourage women to come to Tevit. That is our lovely the yoga, beginner yoga. It's really gentle, and also it's accessible. They can do it from the chair as well. And mindfulness, more of mindfulness and sound baths, let's say. Yoga, and taking the self-care that we talk about. Take care of yourself, give yourself some love. And also, do I say about the other centers also? No.
Go for it.
Oh, yeah. So basically, I started also to do kids yoga. It's kids for any kids without any conditions, and then and kids with special needs as well, to different groups in St. Paul's Way.
St. Paul's Way Centre.
Yeah, St. Paul's Way Centre. I might have also women's sessions there as well. We'll see. So these are the sort of I do also like one-to-ones, especially for kids with special needs. I think sometimes, it's better for them to do, or the parents want like this. But I will have, hopefully, inshallah, in March, something on. I'll have my website, and there's going to be lots of free resources also on mindfulness, videos for women also, and men. Let's not discriminate men. On breath work, meditations, yoga nidra that I learned. I'll be recording those, and also grief. It's going to be lots of things I'll be doing on grief. So in my country, but also here, I see it's just lacking.
Yeah.
I think that's
amazing. Well, for those listening, Tahmina's stuff will be listed in the description, so I'll include a link to everything. Hopefully by the time this goes out, your website will be live, because this will be going out during March. And you've got a session, right, for International Women's Month?
Yes,
during March.
Have it, no, the date at the top of my head, but definitely in March.
I'll put it up on the screen.
Oh, great. Yeah, it would be great. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. This was such a beautiful conversation. I think that's the word I've got for it, is it's a beautiful conversation. But thank you all for listening. I've been your host, Mo. And
your co-host, Humaira.
And thank you for listening to Bees in a Pod. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And please share and please follow Tamina on all of her socials, check out her website and everything. And if you want to get involved, pop down to the center. If you have a group of people that want to do yoga, come down. We'll have a chat with Tamina and see what we can do. But thank you.